Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Running, running, no. Keep running.
I cannot say enough about this chapter. This chapter is so good. We get a flashback of Kuma origins. We get Kuma father Cloud. We get a young Garland, bro. Like, this chapter is more than enough that we need because we are on break next week. It's amazing because the One Piece fandom are going crazy right now because at the end of this storyline, we see that it lines up with the God Valley incident. So it seems like this flashback is going to consist of the God Valley incident, and we're going to get a whole flashback of the events that we thought we would never see. Furthermore, the events of Kuma essentially being born as a slave and his Buccaneer lineage is something that we need to talk about. Now, if you do your research on Buccaneers did not start off doing pirate things. They started off being hunters, people that provide for their land. So essentially, I think the Buccaneer lineage, the Buccaneer people actually was alongside the people with the middle initial of D, right? And that's why the Buccaneer people are being punished right now. And I feel like definitely these Buccaneer people, these giants, and I feel like all of them was giants. And now we know why Kuma is so big, because Kuma is a half giant, which his mother is like a regular human. So these Buccaneers essentially was alongside of the middle initial D to take over the world government, where the people we know as the world government now. And I think the Buccaneers was definitely influenced by the initial D because of the initial D was probably right on their morals. And just like the real life Buccaneers, the only reason why the Buccaneers became who they was because the Spanish people were threatening their survival. And maybe in the same way, Clap's people, the Buccaneer people, was threatened by the world government. So it was only right for Clap people to go alongside that middle initial D because they had the right thing going on to overthrow the people who are now the world government. But the worst case scenario did happen. The middle initial D people definitely got almost wiped out, and it left the Buccaneer people to stand alone for themselves, and they end up being enslaved. And once Jay Garcia mentioned this Buccaneer race that there may be extinct, I don't feel that way, because at the same time we still have giants still on Elbaf. Those giants maybe could be the last survivors of the Buccaneer race, because I feel like maybe that's what the giants origins are. Maybe the giants came from the Buccaneer race. Maybe the giants ancestors are the Buccaneer race. And to speak on Jay Garcia, we see that he has hyper regeneration powers. Now I feel like all the 5 elders have this power. And his brain buster attack, where he can just look at somebody and kind of bust their brains, make their mouth, eyes, and nose bleed, is something very intriguing. He even got Sanji with it, and Sanji is a strong foe for Jay Garcia Saturn. Now we know that Sanji possesses great haki. We know he does not have king haki just yet like Zoro, but at the same time Sanji is a strong person, so maybe Jay Garcia attack affect just by anybody he choose. And now we finally know that Jay Garcia let Bonnie stab him because he can light speed regenerate. Like, that was less than a millisecond of him regenerating, but I'm pretty sure that take a lot of effort, so I'm pretty sure he can't use it as often as he like. And if so, that's just broken, bro. I don't see nobody really beating him if he can hyper regenerate that fast. And to see Kizaru still out for the count after taking that devastating punch from Luffy is big ups for Luffy. Kizaru even said in the official translation that he's not going to be mobile anytime soon, so he's definitely out for the count just like Luffy. So who's going to be left to actually go against Jay Garcia? I mentioned that at the end of the chapter, don't worry about it. And we see as Frankie saved Luffy, we got Jay Garcia with a little early reference to God Valley when he said, ooh, a pirate crew that cooperates. I'm pretty sure Jay Garcia Saturn did not see this with the Rocks Pirates. So like I said before, we seen Jay Garcia look the same way in the God Valley incident. So he did not age a bit. Well, figuratively, like face-wise, he didn't age a bit. And the key takeaways from Jay Garcia Devil Fruit, it seems like he's trying to be cruel as he can be. So I don't know if this definitely for his Devil Fruit, does somebody have to be scared of him for his Devil Fruit to work? Like, you see how Sanji and Frankie and now the Vegapunk, they can't move. Maybe that's a part of Jay Garcia's Devil Fruit. Just like Big Mom The only way that Jay Garcia and Big Mom Devil Fruit would work if they had this fear factor inside of you, or maybe belittling somebody actually would help with him using his Devil Fruit on somebody else. Saying things like aim for the head, show me how you want to die, show me the most cruelest way how you want to die. Like those things would scare somebody up, right? And belittle somebody to the point where like, I think this might be the end for me. But before we get into the flashback, we have to talk about how Kuma idolized Nika, right? How Clap, Kuma's father, installed inside Kuma that Nika will someday free everybody. Maybe Luffy will get up with his last strength, but I don't think it might be Luffy. I don't think that warrior liberation, Nika, would say Bonnie at this moment is gonna be somebody else. But during the flashback 47 years ago, we see Kuma origins, right? We see the story of Kuma and how strange and crazy it was to be really born into slavery. To see Kuma being born as a half giant, to see Doctor coming through saying the government is here and they just chaining up Clap and chaining up Kuma, and Kuma looking like there's chains, they look really nice. To see him being born the way he's born is very, very sad. And maybe his flashback is the most cruel flashback there is in One Piece. But at the same time, Clap tried to install Kuma of being very positive, and Kuma tried to help his father actually, because Kuma was being positive also, basically saying that his master was nice. Oh no, his master was not nice. And finally we see Clap telling Kuma actually that his mother died, and maybe Kuma felt like he was better off dead because of the cruel things that happened to him, and maybe dying is a positive way of really being free from being a slave. And the reason why Clap and Kuma kept a positive attitude is because they depended on Nika, the warrior of liberation, to come and free all the slaves on the compound. We see how Clap lost the eye, we see how he's heavily damaged, but he's still praising Nika. He have it in Kuma's mind that Nika's gonna come one day, and that's where Kuma's positive attitude came from, the will to wait for somebody that will actually liberate them. Not just anybody, but Nika, who did before already. And maybe it's just destiny, because these zone devil fruits actually carry a will on their own. It's not Luffy's fault that he had to carry on this will of the warrior of liberation, right? It's not Luffy's fault that he had to liberate everybody that's been taken advantage of by the world government. And the crazy thing about this is the people who worship Nika, right? Who worship the liberation god, knows that one day he will be reborn. The people actually alongside Nika know that he will be born again through another devil fruit user because of the devil fruit will. But to continue with the chapter, we see that 38 years ago, when Kuma was 9, the annual purge came around, the native hunting competition came around again, and it comes around seeming like every 3 years. And I don't know back then if they only choose non-affiliated government islands as their hunting ground, but God Valley at this time was not affiliated with the world government. And it's crazy to know that the world government was pulling stuff like this 38 years ago. They definitely had to change, because maybe during these times their enemy was growing in bigger numbers. Because of things like this, because of manhunts like this, their sports are somewhat cruel to the outside world. And since the island of God Valley has so much resources, the government was going to claim it now. Now I don't think that's going to be before or after the hunt, but we see a young Garland anticipating this fight. He lived for things like this, and Saint Garland actually took out the king of God Valley instantly. And I feel like this word native is being passed around so often 38 years ago, so I feel like people that are natives actually lived on the land, and you got people like Celestial Dragons, you know, Jay Garcia, Saturn, and Garland actually lived above the land. So I feel that they might use these people as natives and give them nicknames to animals. Like we see that they said rabbit native, the people that probably manhunt rabbits or eat rabbits on the land below. And you got people, like I said, Jay Garcia, Saturn, people above the land. They're not natives. They're dragons. They're supreme. They're absolute, right? And I feel that they're belittling the narrative, as in these people, the natives, are more common folk. But back then we really didn't understand Bonnie's flashback when she went inside her father's memories. But now we do. We seen that Kuma actually tried to get away from this manhunt, this massacre. Kuma tried to rebel himself, and we seen that this is where he met Ivankov. And maybe this slave girl Guinea is actually Ivankov's real sister, and this what actually sparked the rebellion inside Kuma and Ivankov. Loss of life, right? The loss of things that meant so precious to them started the rebellious spark inside their soul. To know that Ivankov was actually maybe here on the God Valley incident, and maybe we can get more information from Ivankov when the time comes. The best thing Oda can do is give the readers the God Valley incident throughout, like no other mistakes. Don't leave nothing out. Find out how actually Shanks definitely got discovered. See the battle between Roger and the Rocks Pirates. Seeing how Garb and Roger came together to defeat the Rocks Pirates. See a young Kaido, a young Whitebeard, right? A Rocks X-Specs in full life. I don't care if this takes about a year. We need this. This is something that the readers need. This is the final saga. This is something that One Piece readers have to see visually. The God Valley incident is top notch up there. Ever since we got introduced to it, right? For Sengoku, it's been #1, right? One Piece is good, but we need to see God Valley incident. And to continue what I was saying previously in this chapter, I think Luffy's out for the count, right? And the only person that will actually try to beat Jay Garcia or hold off Jay Garcia is the Iron Giant. If the Iron Giant recognize Jay Garcia, recognize his power, recognize his aura, so to speak, right? We know he's gonna battle him. We know that the Iron Giant has been woken because he hears the drums of liberation. The only person that will help the Straw Hats right now is the Iron Giant. So we definitely might just see an Iron Giant versus Jay Garcia Saturn. And ultimately, this is probably gonna be the person that saves Bonnie. Only after the flashback. But when we go back to the flashback, come here because I said it first. But that is it for the chapter. Amazing chapter, 100 out of 10. This chapter is what we needed. We are on break next week, but trust me, this chapter make up for 2 chapters coming out. I swear to you not. This is the best chapter thus far we have of this month. And maybe what we're going to see further in this chapter, that maybe things gonna take a crazy twist that nobody never seen coming, only I did, right? The Iron Giant versus Jay Garcia Saturn. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe to get more of me and more One Piece content. Love you. Love yourself. I'm Monkey D. Cypher. Peace.